Let us start with MongoDB. So it says design and develop MongoDB queries using Crude Operations, right? And in bracket it says use Crude Operations and save method and logical operators. These are the things that it says to do. So we'll be doing that. We'll open terminal. We'll be starting Mongo, and for this command your Mongo starts, right? You can get status that it's running. You can press Q to exit it. Now you should just do Mongo and the Mongo starts. I'll clear the screen, and now we will be looking at how this actually works. Crude operations. Well, crude operations are basically create, read, update, and delete. So C for create, R for read, U for update, and D for delete. These are the operations that is in MongoDB crude operations. So let's use as 10 because it's as 10. So db as 10, right? We have switched it to it, and we do not need to know where we switched to. It is still there. If you know, yeah, it's still there. So it gives you that. I am just pressing Command L to clear it. Okay, so we'll create the collection first in MongoDB. So db, so this is your create. So you just do this. Create collection library. We've done that. And it should tell OK1. It did. Now to insert into it is db.insert. Okay, db.db, which db it is. So it's library, right? And what are you doing? I'm doing insert, right? Insert, right? You'll give this and this first, and then you can give this and this for your thing, which entry you're going to give. So let's say I'm going to give bi insert bid equals 1, comma, okay, bid, oh god, bid, too fast to match, bid equals 1, name is C++, let's say, right? And we enter. So there is an update error which it says is this. I don't know why. Okay, so yeah, sure, I messed up here. The C++ is a string, so we'll do this, and yes, and inserted 1. If you insert more, let's say you insert one more, let's say Java, right? And book ID is, let's say, 2, right? There is this, and then let's say Python is really popping, so Python 3rd, and that's probably about it. Now if I were to write db.library, which is the library I'm trying to, and if I write find, you'll see a bunch of stuff that comes. So this is how it comes. So it says the object ID is this, right? This is a unique object ID given to any object in the library. But we can make it look much prettier by just writing .pretty, and you see that it's a little prettier. Now we have done create, we have done read. Now we have to update and we have to delete. So these are the crude operations. So db.library library dot update, right? Update and update. Let's say we misspell Java, uh, or we misspell Python. Okay, so we will do name, right? Say it was what? It was Python. So it will be Python, because some people, there is a lot of confusion about Python Linux. Yeah, 3.7 Python Linux. So we'll say Python 3.7. So this is your issue. So this is the entry, and what do you want is you $set. You just write $set and you put semicolons, and then you just write name is Python 3.7, because well, people are crazy for Python 3.7 versus Python something, I don't know. There is one more bracket that I should end here for the set, and this should do your thing. Right result, yes. So there is one modified, no upserted, there is one matched, so there is this. So now if we write db, okay, I'll just find, so you'll see that it's changed to Python 3.7. we have done update as well. So now we want to remove or delete, so we'll write db.library.remove, right? What do you want to remove? The item. So let's say I want to remove BID. We got an order to remove book ID number, let's say 2, right? Because people are okay, remove C++ because people, it's only used in game development and stuff. So BID 1, right? Yeah, we got an order, we deleted it. So there was n removed. And if we just go and find, now there is BID2 and BID3. So we have done this much. Let's say we wanted to find something specific. So library.find, and then we find something specific, which is find, what do you want to find? So we'll get the item. So let's say I want to find the name is name Java. I want to find that. Right? I want to find the name Java. Otherwise, my boss is gonna kill me. So name Java, and there you go. You have written BID2 name Java object ID revealed. So you get this is your specific search, right? And now let's say you insert one more. Let's wait a second. There is BID2. Let's say BID4 is also Java, right? Yes. Name Java. And so there is one more field, which is description. And the book is just fake book. Okay. So there is this record of fake book, and we insert. Now there is inserted. Okay. So if we were to find, so there will be these 3. But if you just search with this, there will be 2. But you do not want 2. What is this, right? So we want to search that it should be.
So we need to find a name as well as a book ID. So using AND operation, we'll be able to find that specific book and avoid this fake book.
So you $and will give you the thing that you want. So $and, if you give this, and then you write name equal to Java, and say BID is equal to 4, but it doesn't make sense, so we'll just do description is fake book, and we also have to include this and this, right? And there is an syntax thing which has got an error. What is this? Missing this, so we have forgot some brackets. Okay, so there was a bracket here. There was a bracket here, right? And there you go. So we AND function. So there is a logical operator. We can also, instead of AND, if we just did OR, description fake book. So there will be two. They did name matched, but one's description matched. So we have done some logical operators. Let's say a student comes in, you can use it much more better with, let's say the student comes in and says, give me a Java book or a Python book. Name is Python 3.7, right? And say these, and then she just gives you this. Okay, yes. Why did he also give you a fake book? Because its name was Java though, right? It's a fake book, but it's Java. Fake book, as in you can say, like the real books are fake. Now you can, let's say, want to search something. Let's say we want to insert a new value. Let's say, right, so there's this. So let's just try name as my story, right? Some good books are pretty good. And there should be 500 of cost. Let's just put cost at 500, right? Because we're going to do a little bit of 4, so we have inserted 4. 5, name my story part 2. Say the prequel got hit. The sequel now comes at my story 2.0. The sequel is now 800, but my story beta version was like 50. Book ID is the same somehow. So with that, let's say I want to find something, right? Let's say I want to find something. Yes. And we want to find something. The dollar is for an operator. Let's say we want to find something which is, so similarly, if you want to do it, so you can do it for not, okay, we didn't see that. So you can do it for AND, which we did, right? Or, which we did. You can also do it for not, that it shouldn't be this, or you can do it for NOR, so it shouldn't be this or this, right? If we see, so we'll just find normally, right? Normal find operation, which is this, so yeah, this. But here you can write, after you write that, then cost is, you can write like this. Cost is $GTE and 100. Then you find these two things. So my story beta version didn't come because it was less than 100. Right. Similarly, you can use many things, which is an EQU greater than equal, right? you have less than equal, less than, not equal. In, there is in, so in is a list. Let's say or cost in, let's say in, you do this and then you write a list. So in 100, 200, 300, 500, right? So came 500 only, right? Yes, not 800, not this. So values in this, and you can also use in, which is not in. So it'll give you these all things. So where cost is not in this, so something which doesn't have a cost will also come. And something which, so my story didn't come, but my story 2.0 and beta version came. So there is this. Now let's say we were tired of this big object ID. By the way, this object ID is in hex code, so you can't write anything above a hex, but yes. So you can save, so db dot library dot save, you can save a record by the name underscore id, id underscore id, same object id. I think this should work because technically that's how you save. So object ID, I'll just give it, right, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right, and then a b c d e f, right. This is your object ID, right, and then bid, right, bid should be, let's say, let's give it bid, which is like 6, right, name, which is like save query, name, which is like save query, right, and right, the cost field is pretty high, so it's about 10k, 10,000, right, cost is pretty high. Yes, and then yes, so invalid object ID length. So the object ID is length. Okay. So the length should be this much, minimum, which is how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24 characters is the object ID. Here it is 15. 15 plus 9 gives 24. I think so, this should work. Yes. And thus we have written, if we were to find, not even this, just normal find. Yes, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can, like, you insert it, but the object ID comes, right? So you can save and give your own object ID, and then it will be there, right? You can give even the same object ID, I think so, as the previous ones. Let's try giving the same object ID as this. I think so. I don't know if it would work, right? paste. So you wrote this, and you have written, so you have modified it. Okay. So if you give the same object ID, it will be modified, right? But if you the object ID, if it is found, then it will be modified. But if not, then it will be saved. And that's all there is to this experiment, which is your CRUD operations with many operations like AND OR, which is your logical, and then the comparison operators, which are not equal, equal, greater than. I'll give a link to all the things that are there. I mean, the whole MongoDB manual from which you can read what are all the type of operators there. So yes, let's meet later when we do our next experiment.